What is up, everybody? Welcome to Life in the Fast Lane. I am Andy Lang from WagerTalk.com, coming off of a really incredible racing weekend. Very profitable for us. We went 3-1 over the weekend. We continue our amazing year in auto racing. Thank you for everybody that has joined us on our plays. Your bankroll has been rewarded this year for sure. So we're going to take a look at Bristol, and we do not have a Formula One race for a couple weeks. So we'll go over the Italian Grand Prix, and then of course we're going to give out our best free bet at the end of the show. Again, make sure you leave your comments below. I like seeing what you guys are picking and who you guys like this week in the NASCAR race. The playoffs have certainly been difficult to handicap at times, but just let me know what you guys like as always. Let's talk Kansas real quick. A little recap. Christopher Bell wins stage 1. Boy, that guy looks good. Bowman wins stage 2, and then Bubba Wallace, who's looked good recently, kind of comes out of nowhere, but race is incredible in the last part of the race to get the win. So really nice run by Bubba Wallace. And if you're a Bubba Wallace fan, I mean, my gosh, you really have to be happy to see him win a race besides the restrictor plate race. That was always, he wins a restrictor plate race, but all the Bubba haters are, so, well, it was a restrictor plate race, but he deserved this one. He outran everybody. So great job by him and his team to get the win. So we're just a quick recap. The race starts. Bowman, Reddick, Logano, they get out front. They clearly have the best cars. A lot of cars struggled at the beginning of this race. William Byron, Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch struggling. Lap 34, Kevin Harvick gets into the wall as race winner Bubba slides up the track. Harvick kind of said it was his own fault. He didn't put any blame on anybody, which is different for Harvick. Truex gets into the wall, but he makes a nice recovery. Reddick looks fantastic, as does Blaney, Bowman, and Ross Chastain, and then bang, Tyler Reddick gets flat tire, goes into the wall. An awful, brutal result for Tyler Reddick, because that guy looked like he was on his way to a top 3 finish, maybe a win if things would have worked out as well. So Ty Gibbs has a tire issue. Ricky Stenhouse has a tire issue. Kyle Busch has a tire issue. You can see the trend here. The race calms down. We have the last pit stops towards the end of the race, and it's just a kind of no nonsense, wasn't super exciting, but it was nice to watch Bubba Wallace get out front. He holds off Christopher Bell and Denny Hamlin and gets a win. So your top 5 in the race was Wallace, Hamlin, Bell, Bowman, and Truex. So obviously the Toyota's looking pretty good there. A big news coming out, Kyle Busch going to Richard Childress next year. I don't know if I have any opinions on what next year is going to look like, but it's certainly going to be weird seeing Kyle Busch race for another team and not have the M&Ms or Mars product sponsored on him. It's just going to be very strange. So Kyle might be good fade material moving forward. He's outside the playoffs looking in right now, and once he gets eliminated, they are going to take every resource out of that team and move it to the guys that are still in there. So Martin Truex looking great in the playoffs. So what a bummer for him. Doesn't make it in the playoffs, but he's had one of the best cars the last couple races. Let's get into the Stenhouse Award. I did not have any for the Formula One race, but we certainly have a few for NASCAR. Harvick gets into the wall a week after complaining about auto parts. And what's really bad about this one is he said it's going to take 2 bad weeks in this first stage of the playoffs for us not to advance. Well, he's got 2 bad weeks now. Nominee number 2, Denny Hamlin, gets yet another penalty in the pits. That's 34 for the year. Denny and that crew, 34 penalties in 1 year, and we still have multiple races left. Tyler Reddick gets flat tire, goes into the wall while leading. Alex Bowman takes 2 tires to try and get into the lead on a pit stop, but Chase Briscoe cuts him off, pulling into the stall, completely ruining his plan. So that was a waste to take 2 tires. Ty Gibbs loses both right side tires. And then the 18, 99, and 3 cars all have equipment violations on the same pit stop. So this was a tough one to determine the winner. I got down to Reddick getting a flat tire and going to the wall while leading, and then Harvick getting into the wall. I think it's got to go to Kevin Harvick getting into a wall, because you've got you got when he complained about the auto parts, and then you also have him saying that it's going to take 2 bad weeks for them not to advance. In the first 2 races, sure enough, they have really bad weeks. So congratulations, Kevin Harvick. You did not win any of the last 2 races. You're on the outside looking in. And yes, you did just have 2 bad weeks to not advance. So let's go over the playoff recap. Christopher Bell, William Byron, Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano. Those are your top 4 right now. Bottom 4, outside looking in, Kyle Busch, Austin Dillon, Chase Briscoe, and the aforementioned Kevin Harvick. Expect some really aggressive racing from Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick. These are tracks that these guys can win. Kyle Busch has been a terror on this track at times if they get the setup right, but it's also very chaotic. So expect Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick to be going for the win. They have to. They don't really have that much of a choice, especially Harvick. So we're racing at Bristol, and this is going to be a difficult one to handicap. To be honest, I'm not even really going to look at Bristol averages. They've got the new cars this year. They've raced on dirt. Just crunching data on this track is very, very hard, not to mention it's always chaotic. It's such a short track. You can have big wrecks that take out multiple cars. If you have a pit violation, you're going to be down multiple laps, which is why I would highly recommend not betting on Denny Hamlin. This guy gets a penalty all the time, and with the amount of pit stops that these guys are going to make at Bristol, all it takes is one bad stop, and all of a sudden Hamlin is 2 or 3 laps down. So big recommendation is to not get near Denny Hamlin for the reason of the possible penalties. So I'm not really going to look at Bristol. I think that's a mistake to try and look at what's happened recently in Bristol. I'm going to look at the top average finishers in the 2 playoff races. Denny Hamlin has survived the pit penalties. He's got the best average finish at 2nd. Christopher Bell is next at 4th. Bubba Wallace at 5th. 4th is Alex Bowman and William Byron. They are both tied for an average finish of 7th. So I think I'm just going to be looking more towards how the guys are doing in the playoffs. So I'm going to be looking at Christopher Bell. I'm going to be looking at Bubba Wallace. Alex Bowman has looked good, and I'm really going to kind of throw out the Bristol results. So I've got a best bet coming up for you guys here at the end. Let's take a quick trip to the slipstream and recap the Italian Grand Prix. The race starts. Great start for Leclerc and Russell. Lando Norris forgets that the race has started. He forgets to take off. He just gets blown by a bunch of cars. Max with a great start. Hamilton a horrible start. Perez comes in for hard tires on lap 8, and his brakes look like they overheated. It was very strange to see what happened to his brakes, but it seems like it wasn't an issue right there. Vettel loses power in his car, so the yellow comes out, and Leclerc comes in on lap 13 to get medium tires. Everyone else stays out, including Max, who grabs the lead. So then you got this mix where some guys go to hard, some guys go to mediums. Now Verstappen puts on mediums, comes out 10 seconds behind Leclerc, but he's got 10 laps fewer on his mediums, and he just blows right by him. It's incredible how good this car looks right now for Verstappen. Both Aston Martin cars have to retire. We talked about them, and we cashed a couple of bets fading Stroll and Vettel. Those cars are just really bad right now. Fernando Alonso retires. That was new. Did not expect to see Fernando Alonso in an Alpine have to retire the car. And then Ricciardo's car dies on the track at the end. Again, the Ricciardo nightmare season continues. It looks like we could have a really fun finish, but they just end it under the safety car. I do like what NASCAR's done, where you're just not going to end the race under yellow. I really think Formula One should do something like that. I mean, this is such a huge sport, and we end it behind the safety car. It's a bad look. At least give them a chance to win. I mean, they decided to break the rule for last year's championship to basically yank it away from one guy and give it to the other, because they were like, well, no, you guys need to race. This is a racing sport. But now this race, they decide to end it under yellow. So some of the people at the higher ups at Formula One are not necessarily the best at their jobs and the smartest people in the world. They seem to remind us all the time of that. So, all right, let's get to a free bet. I'm going right back to Bubba Wallace. I'm going to take him on top 10. You're getting a great price here. And we take a look at some of his finishes here. So obviously he gets the win at Kansas. He was top 10 at Darlington. We're throwing out Daytona and Watkins Glen, the road course I'm not really too worried about. 13th at Richmond, 2nd at Michigan, 8th at Pocono, 3rd at New Hampshire. This guy's stringing together really, really strong finishes. His team is peaking at the right time. Unfortunately, he did not get into the playoffs. But I think you got to buy into what Bubba Wallace is doing right now. Sometimes these guys take a while to hit their stride, and he talked about how his crew really struggled. And you look, he didn't have he finished 7th in the duel back in February, and then he finished 2nd at the Daytona 500, and then he goes all the way up until July 17th with no top 10 finishes. And then he's just been a top 10 machine. So I'm buying it. The team is clicking. He is clicking. It's a difficult track, but I think he can. I think he's going to be near the top as long as he stays out of trouble. I see another top 10 finish. So that's going to be your free bet here with Bubba Wallace. All plays can be found at wagertalk.com, guys. Encourage you to go get the auto racing pack. We're over 60% again, and we're just having an incredible year. Bankrolls are very happy. I'm very happy. Long-term clients are real happy. So we're really excited to finish strong. And yeah, so go grab that. So wagertalk.com. Leave your comments below. Give us a like, subscribe. And let's have another profitable weekend, guys. No Formula One race, so let's just do some damage here in NASCAR. Good luck. Let's have a great race, and we'll see you next week on another episode of Life in the Fast Lane.